Good day to you, gentle person on the internet, and thank you for joining me as we have a look at Hammer, HAMM-3R, so HAMM-3R. It's obviously supposed to say hammer, and this is an interesting one that I'm very interested in showing you guys because it is. I'm going to cluster it within the sort of the sphere of educational games. The people that make them tend to think of educational games as education first and game second, which has always been backwards to me. It has to be a fun game first. Otherwise, and then the education needs to fit in with that. Otherwise, people just won't play it because if it's education first, then, people don't do education for fun, or at least the people that do education for fun are not going to be attracted to an educational game because the game part will just get in the way. What you're trying to reach here is something that is a game for fun, and then education is supposed to happen on the side. So people are playing the game and happen to be educated. But the makers of such games forget that, and they just make an education experience that then isn't particularly fun, and then they wonder why nobody plays the thing and go, "Oh, educational games don't work." No, it's because you're making educational games wrong. And we'll see whether this is the case in this particular game. And it's technically not educational, as in it doesn't really have a syllabus to teach you so much as it has a philosophical idea that it's trying to explore. And we'll talk about that afterwards in the aftermath. But first, let us hit space and see where this takes us. We say easy now, and we have to hold space to decelerate. We've decelerated a bit much there, I think. Okay, now we decelerate a bit more. We almost decelerated too much there. I don't know what's driving our acceleration. There we go. Nice and smooth, Captain. I am impressed. So we are Captain Martin, the one who said whoa there, and we are driving this ship to park it into a bigger vessel / facility of some sort. It's very organically shaped. It was kind of brain shaped in a way, or head shaped at least. So we have shoved our ship in, and we appear to be carrying a bunch of stuff. So anyway, so Tess, the owner of the station, says, "Nice and smooth, Captain. I am impressed." We respond, "Madame, Smooth is my middle name." 3R, which appears to be an AI assistant, says, "Louis, you actually have a middle name, and that is Louis." "Okay, fellas, I have a station to run," says Tess. "I will wire you the credits for this old tanker as usual. Anything else I can do for you?" So we were carrying an old tanker, apparently. I guess we were a ship on a ship. Guess not, Tess. We'll haul in another big one in 4 months or so. "Roger that. Try and take care out there, the both of you." Alright, so that is the end of our little intro. Oh, no, not quite. 3R says, "Ouch, she gave you a bit of a cold shoulder there, huh? Just shut your artificial mouth and push us out." And we're leaving the big thing behind, and we're heading out, and we are HAMM-3R, Hammer, from the University of Malta, MDIA, the Malta Digital Innovation Authority, and of course Godot, the engine that this is written in. So thanks to you guys for giving us some more interesting experiences to have a look at. It's quite a nice intro, and very good looking, very good art. I did see it said that no AI was used in this. I'm assuming it's true, seeing as the developer is apparently focused / interested on AI as one of the things. So anyway, 2 months later. We are waking up. Where? What? Wakey, wakey, Captain. Are we already back at the station? Afraid not, boss. We just reached the new tanker. Then why did you unfreeze me? Are we in trouble? Take this as a precautionary measure, one for which I need your help. But first, some post-awakening diagnostics. Please look all the way to the right. And now we have to press the right button, which is D in this case. Ouch! Wonderful. The left-hand side now, and then A is the look left button. Don't trust strippers, apparently. Good enough. Let me open the cryopod for you. Okay, you can try and step outside of the pod. Please be careful. So we can look right and then press W to move forward. And we can look around at various things. There's the pods. We're apparently alone on the ship. Nice poster. Tastes so good that no thing will distract you. Tastes whiskey. And Walkman. It works in space too. Good old Walkman. And we can look at the fridge. Eating is out of the question. I'm still dizzy with cryo sleep. So we don't want anything. Alright, so this is our starting point. We don't really have a UI. Press space to interact. 3R says, "You seem disoriented, Captain. Trust me, it will soon pass. Please make your way to the control room." Alright, so here we are out at space with our ship kind of behind us. Apparently we're not carrying anything yet. We have... Can't look up or down. We can't look with the mouse. We're looking with the keyboard, and I'll talk about that later. But I am not fond of it as an experience. All right, space to interact. I need to remember to fix this door. All right, so that door is broken, so we don't have a branch there, and we can walk into this area. We can look out here. A bit more of the ship. I'm guessing that's the tanker we've come to deal with, because I think we're connected to it here. Alright, so let's talk to 3R. Okay, buddy, lay it on me, and keep in mind that I have a splitting headache. This might be nothing, but here's the thing. My sensors indicate that the tanker out there is not completely dead. That lemon has been gathering cosmic rays and interstellar dust for more than 20 years. Strange. Do you detect organic life forms? Inconclusive. Regardless, we need to make sure it's clean before we haul it in. Well, bleep me then. Are gravity and pressure okay in there? I took the liberty to power up and ready the tanker for your visit. The readings on the other side of the door are all green. Alright, so let's look in our locker here, and we find a weapon. I am glad that you are taking your plasma gun, as it is not advisable to go unarmed. I wonder... well, that's more like it. Alright, so now we have a gun. We can look at things and press space to shoot them. If we press F10, as you see on the top right, we have the controls. So space to use things or to shoot things. Moving is up and down, either WASD or the arrow keys, and turning as well. And then F10 is pause and pause, or hold it down to restart. Also on the top left we appear to have health, where we are missing 2 hearts, but we have 3. So anyway, we don't have anywhere else we can go. Oh, we have the toilet, where we can look at the toilet and open it. I can't use any of that though. No, I'm not dumb enough to use this gun in here. Okay, I thought I was trying to shoot when I was hitting space. Right, well then let us head in to the ship. Now I believe this part of the thing is procedurally generated. So it's generated each time you play the game, so it'll be different every time. And, right, yeah, the tanker is procedurally generated. So yeah, this is roughly as far as I've played. I stepped through and I saw some barrels, and I shot the barrels, and they blew up and ended the game. It destroyed everything. So, important lesson there, don't shoot the barrels. That was during my testing before I started recording. Right. So, those are the barrels. We don't want to shoot those. Now, it's very tempting to shoot them, because that is kind of what you do in games like this. Barrels are normally things that are safe to shoot, and you want to know if they're going to blow up to help you deal with enemies or anything like that. So, alright, we have this area here. Okay. There's a lot of pathways here. Well, let's just keep going left. 3R, can you see where I am? Now that life support is on, I can barely see anything in there. We don't have a map, which is not helpful. Alright, I'm just going to keep heading left as much as I can. What do we have here? Well, just looks like I found something interesting. A remedy of some kind. You're not going to eat expired pills that you just happen to find lying around, are you? Much. Of course not. Alright, so we've healed ourselves. That's quite nice. Let's keep an eye on left. Route. Alright. I wish I had a map. More barrels. And barrels that are now in the way. And I know what happens when you try and shoot the barrels, so I am not going to do that. But that's blocking that path. And I gather it has like a route that the branches reach dead ends that are either blocked by barrels or a door that won't open. Does the inside of the tanker look unusual to you? Nothing out of the ordinary, at least for now. Other than the weird pills that we just ate. Let's keep going. Alright, let's see what's going on in here. Okay, so we have reached the control center, I guess. Not really marked as such. It's the downside of procedurally generated sort of interiors, is they are often quite illogical, you know, whereas a defined interior has doors and rooms and things that you know your way around in, because it's how the ship works. You know, this is an area where people that is required because this is the living area where people live and do living things. You know, this is the control area, this is the aircon life support area, you know, this is the storage area. Everything has a purpose, whereas in procedurally generated things, it's just corridors and rooms that have no apparent purpose. So that is an issue with the idea of generating sort of like ship interiors and things like that, like this, without it being out of component parts rather than, you know, just generating corridors and stuff. Anyway, we have reached the center and we're hearing some music, and it seems to be showing cows. Looks like nobody is around anymore, but they must have forgotten to turn off the computer. Could this explain the signals you sensed? The computer, huh? Yeah, and it seems to be running a sped up simulation of sorts. I wonder how long it's been processing for. Funky. Still, it's messing with my sensors, and I'd appreciate it if you would deactivate it, or blow it up, whatever. Is that really necessary? Decide what to do with it and make your way back to the HAMM. I need to depressurize this bad boy before starting the loading procedures. No, I don't want to shoot it. How do I just turn it off? Alright. Huh, that was weird. Oh well, what is done is done. Right, yes, now please make your way back on board the HAMM. On my way, buddy. Alright, now I'm wondering if we didn't take the plasma gun, if we had been able to deactivate it without shooting it. Anyway, let's head back out. That way. Now, I should, in theory, just keep going right to follow my way back from the way that I came in. Oh, alright. Alright, we're back home. Welcome back, Captain. Thank you. And thank bleep, that was nothing. Guess you'll take it from here, buddy? I sure will. Please head back to your cryopod. Good night. And that was the end of the experience, I guess. We've reached, I'm guessing, one ending. And I'm thinking there are different things that'll happen if we don't take the gun and sort of interact with it in a different way. Maybe if we don't shoot it, we can get more interaction and things like that. And I'll leave that up to you guys to come and give it a go and have more experience with it. So that's, I mean, all of the gameplay demonstration I'm going to show. So if that's all you're here to see, well, the link will be in the description. Come and give it a look. Come and give the Malta University and the Malta Digital Innovation Authority some loves and ratings and all that kind of good stuff. And I hope it's good for you. I hope it's fun. Yeah. And this is the basic idea of the game. I suppose it is tempting, if the only tool you have is a hammer, to treat everything as if it were a nail. To be fair, that was the AI's idea rather than my own, to just shoot it. Nevertheless, Abraham Maslow, 1966. Rather before I was born, which is good. Yeah, so that is the game. Give it some loves. Now just the usual intermediary bit. It says no input detected. I don't want to know what that's going to do. Anyway, actually I'll leave it next time and see what it has to say. So yeah, so that is the game. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like or dislike if you liked the video, not the game. If you like or dislike the game, go tell the devs. Not my game. I didn't make it. I'm just showcasing it. So go talk to them. I don't want to take credit for their work. But if you liked or disliked the video, leave me a like or a dislike, and possibly a comment if you are in the mood for it, telling me what you liked or disliked, and then I will know how to make better videos so they'll be more entertaining for you. And hit the subscribe button if you want to stick around as I look at an indie game a day. Not all sort of serious philosophical diatribes like this one, which we'll talk about in a minute, but all sorts of different games of different kinds, as long as they are indie games and not the big scary AAA games. I might look at those eventually, rather more critically, at some point in the future, because I mean it'd be nice to get there. But the starting points of this channel, I'm sticking to indie games that I think people should come and play and have a look at for the experience, if nothing else. Yeah, so if that sounds good to you, hit the subscribe button and join us. And there'll be more features and things like Discord and Patreon and all of that kind of stuff as I get there. Let's see what no input detected does. Takes us back to the intro, I guess. Yeah, so all of that kind of stuff when I get there, when the channel gets big enough that I'm hoping to reach at some point. We're some of the way there. And I'm hoping we continue to grow. Now I'm rambling, so thank you. And if you're heading out now, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. If you're sticking around for the critiques, well, plenty to talk about here, but I will try and keep it succinct. So, first of all, let's escape out of the game itself, and let's look at the big lump of text that that the developer has left here. So to try and summarize this a bit, I mean, we're calling this a game, and I suppose technically it is in terms of the way you interact with it and the kind of the interactivity of the experience and things. And it's not meant to be here as a game that you play for fun. It is here as an experience that you have to as it says here, disclose interactive philosophical sort of ideas and concepts. Specifically in this case, we're talking about mediation theory, which is a branch of the, well, he calls it here a branch of the philosophy of technology. But it's a bit bigger than that. It's a philosophical examination of kind of the third-party influence in a situation when you have two competing entities, or two entities at discord with each other. Mediation theory is an understanding of the way that a third party can come in and address the conflict, the discord, and help these two entities interact. But then focusing on that kind of a sort of a subset of this is where it interacts with technology, and you have the idea that some kind of technological element can act as the mediation, or can be used by the mediation process, but it then in turn shapes the mediation, which is where the whole, if you're holding a hammer, everything looks like a nail component comes in. So you have to be aware of that, because if what is not needed here is hammering a nail, then a hammer becomes part of the problem rather than part of the solution. So that's why this is quite important theory to unpick. If you are trying to deal with a conflict between two groups of people, but you're coming from the perspective of a certain political stance, for example, that political stance is going to shape the way you interact with those people. And try and solve their problem, and it might be the wrong perspective, the wrong position, the wrong stance to deal with the situation in a productive way, and you could make things worse, if potentially for both and yourself, if not for one or the other. So it's very important to consider the technology in this case. Sort of within the technological context, especially of games, is where we're interested. So it's all very relevant, is the point I'm trying to make, and it is an interesting experience. So really, our question in critiquing this game is it doing its job, as well as the other things that we can critique about it. I don't know if it is. There's a lot of information here that I think should be in the game rather than just in the itch.io page. It's something I've always said. Like, the itch.io page can carry meta information about the game in terms of things like, this is the engine it's used, this is how updates are going, all that kind of stuff. It shouldn't contain stuff like this, which is the details of what the game is trying to do. All this information should be in the game somewhere. And I didn't see anything that could lead us to that. So, critique number one is put all this stuff in the game. Don't put it here. Make the game agnostic in terms of its hosting site. This shouldn't be a game on itch.io. It should just be a game that itch.io is happening to present to you. All this stuff should be in the game, because it shouldn't be something that itch.io needs to host for you. All right, let's go through the usual critiques. The UI is missing in a way. There is no quality of life sound controls or anything like that. Let's just try and get back. I want to see if I'm right that if we just don't take the pistol, we have a different solution, a different experience. Been through all that stuff. The sounds, the game is pretty good sounding, pretty interesting sounding. We've got a lot of things happening there that are well sounded out. The artwork, the game is very, very good looking, and I'm guessing it's not done through AI, or at least it possibly helped with AI, but there definitely seem to be proper artists and things like that doing the work. So the artwork is fine. Let's get out of here. We've come to the gameplay thing, so let's I want to get through into the tanker. Alright, so now I'm going to avoid picking up the gun, and I'm just going to go through. No, I don't want to. Oh. Alright, so we are forced to take it. can't see anything in here. I think this is meant to be a dead end. Blocked off with barrels. Yeah, like I said, if you shoot the barrels, they just explode. Alright, so my next critique, and I need to make it, is that I do not like the control system. I do not like the way I am not pointing with a mouse. This is it's actually quite reminiscent of back in the day when I was playing games before the mouse was the controller, like the original Doom and things like that. This is how you moved around. This is how you steered. This is how you pointed. And I'm not enjoying the fact that that I am kind of taking this sort of 30-year step backwards in the way to control the games. I think this should be controlled with the mouse. I don't know, maybe he's left it out on purpose because of interaction with other systems, like consoles or something like that. I don't know. I'm not quite sure why we're having such a weirdly backwards control system. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think it detracts from it. Alright, I'm not going to shoot it. I'm going to step out. See if that changes anything. And I'm going to keep going right. See if we can find any more of the ship. Okay, there's more barrels there. Another empty room. We've gone in a loop there. I'm hoping to find something else. Don't shoot things. Alright, we have gone around. If we go back without having shot the thing. Huh. Even though we didn't shoot it. Let's see what happens. Have we found another ending? Alright, no, it didn't make a difference. Alright, so, yes. Yeah, we're talking about gameplay, okay? The first thing I don't like is the control system. I think it sucked. Okay, the second thing is, this isn't really a game or even much of an interactive fiction. And I have to say, with the lack of kind of choices, we're not really getting the philosophical exploration either. You know, we don't have a choice whether or not to take a weapon, so we don't have a different set of tools. The only difference is that we can shoot the barrels and they explode, and then we get from the Tess, who sees the explosion distantly off somewhere, and then it just takes us back to here. I mean, we come back to the intro, the starting point again, and it's not. Yeah, I don't feel like I've played a game, and I don't feel like I have explored the philosophy here that this is somehow trying to implement, because we're not making choices, we're not making decisions. It's a very linear path. So there's definitely something I'm not getting there, something I'm not seeing, or possibly not doing. So yeah, that needs to be addressed a lot more. What I would say is that there is potential here for an interesting game with an interesting idea. There should be two routes that we can take through. One where we go in without the gun, meet alien creatures who are then friendly to us, and we resolve the situation that way. So we should come back to some kind of resolution that I suppose should be positive to us, because we are, we are trying to explore the different results of whether or not we choose a certain tool to implement it in a certain scenario. Um, I would say that, yeah, there should be the friendly one where we deal with the aliens and we get credit for discovering a new species and maybe improve things in some way. And there's the one where we go in with the gun, we blast the things, and then we just take the ship back and it becomes like a normal day. So we still reach a positive ending in terms of our goals, but nowhere near as positive as the let's choose a different tool for the job. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It has thrown me a little bit that there is no branching in this experience, um, which is the second reason why it's not really a game. It's not fun. It's not. It is fun. It is an interesting experience to have. It's not. It doesn't feel there's no gameplay mechanic to play it. We haven't encompassed a sort of a real challenge or a real puzzle or anything like that. Any of the obstacles that one needs to bypass to progress through a game's experience. We haven't come across any of those. So is this a game? Is it telling us anything? Is it triggering any of the things that a game needs to trigger? I mean, down that road we would then have the philosophies of what is a game and things like that. Um, Interesting that this keeps noticing that we're not doing anything and then restarting the game, as it were. Hmm. Yeah, there's a lot missing here, and I don't know. Is this classified as like a prototype or anything along those lines? It doesn't feel like it. Um, it is it is an interesting implementation of technology, certain kind of technology. Not the kind that I think the gameplay experience is talking about, but it does say it's in development. I don't know. Maybe there's still more work being done on it. I will say that the basic components of a game are very, very cool. I like the look of the setting and the environment. I like the look of the weapons. I like the kind of the basic context. Yeah, the sort of the storyline it's told us so far, where this you know heavy hauler pilot, us and this AI, we go off, we pick up sort of wrecks and things like that, sort of salvage, valuable salvage, and we bring it back to the station where it gets processed and we get paid for doing that. That's our job. We fly this big ship that is capable of towing things, and we barely fly it. In fact, we sit in cryo, only get woken up to try and resolve problems, but the AI does most of the work. Um, it's there's some interesting statements there to make. It would be a bit more interesting if we weren't asleep, but we're forced to kind of entertain ourselves and entertain the AI, who entertains us in turn. All of that kind of stuff. That would be an interesting gameplay mechanic to explore. Experimental video game, Hammer, which takes us back to here, I suppose. We explored the idea that our equipment influences how we understand the world and act with it. Through playful interactions, the game pros that our tools, like a hammer or a plasma gun, do not merely extend our agency, but actively transform us, inviting specific interpretations, expectations, and modes of engagement with reality, except that it hasn't done that because it hasn't given us any choices. Uh, Again, maybe this game is in a prototype state and the choices are still coming. If so, it should say that somewhere here, where it doesn't. We haven't been told that this is still in development. So I suppose that's part of my confusion. Is I don't understand why this isn't doing what it says it should be doing. But I still think this is a good experience. I still think you guys should come and give this a bit of a play. Come and give this a look. Links in the description and things like that. In terms of my usual critiques, I have complained about the control system, lack of quality of life controls as well, and the lack of any kind of real story or progression that is either making it a fun game for us or exploring the philosophy here. And on that note, it'll return to my diatribe about don't forget that when you want to make either an educational experience or a philosophical experience or something based around a game, you have to have the game there first. You can't use game elements to make an experience and go, hey, here's this game, come and play it. You like games, so therefore we will expose you to this experience through the game. Because you're not. You're exposing them through the experience, through a virtual interaction with the experience. That's not a game. And the elements that you are promising are not there, and that's going to make people turn against your game. It has to be a game first, an actual gameplay experience first. And then from there, build the other things you want to expose the player to around the game. So fun game first, then the mechanisms that you're trying to get the player exposed to second, built around it, because otherwise you're just going to annoy players and drive them away, and nobody's ever going to see the work you've done on the stuff that you're trying to do. You'll be going backwards. And I think that's all I can usefully say about this. I'm hoping I have said something useful in the video that the developer can then understand what I'm on about, and hopefully implement it in the next version of this, or the next iteration of this, assuming it's still being iterated on. It says it's in development, so I'm guessing it is. So where is the game? Stefano's has phoned this one in a bit. Where is the point of the experience? Where is the trying to think of the words. Like in writing a story, you have the sort of the beginning, the middle, and the end. And the beginning is like introduces you to the people and the conflict that needs to be resolved. The middle is building up the tensions and all of that kind of stuff around the conflict, and explaining what elements are happening and throwing in some twists and all that kind of stuff. And then the end is the resolution of the conflict one way or another. And this doesn't really have that, because there's no conflict that we're resolving other than, oh, there's something weird on this station, and we look at it and we go, oh, it's just some kind of sim, and then we end up shooting it to destroy it. This is not an interesting conflict to resolve, and this is not a good process of resolving it. And I think they've drifted away from writing the story to try and bring in the philosophy that they're trying to explore, but they've done it in such a way that they've done neither. They haven't written a good story, and they haven't really implemented the philosophy. I don't know what the plan for this game is here, but I'm hoping it's going to expand more and grow more, because the basic engine is fantastic. I love the way that things look. I love the setting and the starting storyline that has been presented. I can see a lot that can be done with this, and I'm hoping these guys continue to build on it, to expand it more. Let's see what. Can we move along here? Look at these images more. That's pretty good. Yeah, there's the barrels. Alright, back to the beginning again. So yeah. Thank you for creating this game, the University of Malta. Make it more of a game, and I think people will enjoy it a lot more, and get the point that you're trying to get to a lot more. And I hope that was useful. Thank you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.